Greetings, Helldivers. Today, we're gonna dive in deep and learn a lot about how the newly introduced exosuit or mechs work in the game. We're going to be covering everything, from the basic information about it, to its combat potential, and its durability. And trust me when I say you'll want to learn about how tough your exosuit actually is, as well as some interesting interactions it has with other parts of our kit. Finally, I'll end the video with my verdict about the exosuit and its impact on our missions. So, let's get it on. Starting with the basics. The Patriot Exo-45 is a stratagem that is available to everyone at the cost of 20,000 requisition credits. Bringing the exosuit stratagem with you allows you to summon up to 2 Exo-45s with a 10-minute cooldown in between summons. Upon calling down the exosuit, an allied dropship will bring the Exo-45 and drop it near the beacon. It's important to note that it won't land exactly on the beacon, but it will be dropped very close to it. Because of this, it's best to deploy your other support weapons and utility stratagems away from the Exo-45, lest you end up crushing it by accident. When you get the Exo-45, it has no timer nor any fuel gauge that you need to manage. You can keep using it as long as it has not yet exploded. It moves fairly fast for something so big, and it does so at a very consistent rate, allowing you to traverse all sorts of terrain very easily. It can move forwards and backwards well, but struggles with strafing left and right, doing so in a tippy-tap fashion. It is best to use your aim to control your direction rather than just using your directional movement alone. The Exo-45 is also unimpeded by things like gates, fences, trees, and small rocks, and can break them down as it walks into them. This makes it pretty good at clearing a path ahead of the team to follow behind. It also has a pretty slow turning arc, which makes it feel sluggish when having to deal with enemies up close. Given this, it's best to engage from some distance away where your slow turning arc won't be too much of a problem. Now, let's talk about its armaments. The Patriot Exo-45 comes with a set of 14 rockets and a machine gun with 1,000 rounds of medium armor penetration. The machine gun basically works the same way as the machine gun stratagem, allowing you to lay a hail of fire to take down many enemies in quick succession without worrying too much about their armor value or their numbers. If you have to deal with heavier enemies like chargers and hulks, that's where the rockets come in. These rockets are a lot like the expendable anti-tank rockets, and basically have the same level of flexibility as them. Some notable things the rockets can do are: you can 2-shot charges to the front leg, the first shot will break their armor and the next shot will kill it. You can also save your rockets by breaking its leg armor first and then mowing it down with your machine gun. This is my preferred method. You can 2-shot an automaton dropship to the thrusters, you can 2-shot an automaton hulk to the face, you can 2 to 3-shot a Bile Titan to the face. You can destroy bug holes and fabricators from a distance. And of course, you can destroy side objectives like the Spore Mushroom and the illegal broadcast tower from a distance as well. While they are great at taking down heavy targets and securing objectives, you are limited to 14 of them, so try not to waste them on enemies that your machine gun can handle. Now, if you run out of both rockets and machine gun ammo, your Exo-45 is basically unable to engage in combat anymore, as there is currently no way for the mech to rearm itself. Without munitions, it becomes a one-man APC instead. The only enemies you can still fight are the smaller bugs like scavengers and the lesser automatons, and you do so by stepping on them like the bugs they are. Speaking of step, your mech also has a melee ability to stomp on enemies as well, but for the life of me, I have not been able to activate it at all in my missions. From what I gather elsewhere, you aren't able to use your stomp once you start smoking, which brings us to the next point. Let's talk about the Exo-45's durability. Without damage numbers or having a controlled environment, it's pretty hard to know for sure how much punishment your Exo-45 can handle. So, to kind of give us an idea, I've used our very own weapons to show how much damage the Exo-45 can take. I spent a good amount of time testing various weapons and stratagems against the Exo-45, and this is what I observed. The main parts of your mech most likely to sustain damage is going to be the center of your body where the rectangular part is. This part is classified as light armor, as well as your legs, which are also mostly classified as light armor. Your mech's arms, back and sides appears to be mostly cladded in either medium armor or very resistant or sloped light armor, since weapons like the Liberator and Knight have their shots deflected entirely. Some parts of the mech that are supposedly covered in medium armor have little vents or panels which can be penetrated by light penetration rounds. When shot directly at the center with light penetrating weapons like the aforementioned Liberator, Knight SMG and the Stalwart, the Exo-45 can take a lot of punishment, taking well over 250 rounds to bring down. However, the moment I swapped to the Liberator Penetrator, which has medium armor penetration, it only took 39 rounds to blow up the mech. To put this into perspective, it took 272 rounds from the basic Liberator to destroy the Exo-45. That's a total raw damage output of 14,960, assuming no multipliers. On the other hand, testing it the same way with the Liberator Penetrator, I only needed 39 rounds to destroy it. That's a total raw damage output of 1,755. This suggests to me that the Exo-45 doesn't have a very high health pool, but instead has a lot of damage resistance built in against light arms fire and attacks. Assuming this is true, knowing the Exo-45 probably doesn't have a very high health pool is helpful. But what would be even more helpful is knowing how much health the mech has left. While the game doesn't give us a health bar, we do know one thing. If our mech takes enough damage, it begins to smoke. Knowing this, I ran through a bunch of different weapons and mapped out a simple spreadsheet to see how many bullets from a specific weapon did it take for the mech to start smoking relative to how many rounds it would take to destroy it. Now, considering that our weapons have many hidden variables behind them, these numbers are only a guideline rather than a hard figure to follow. From what I can tell, if I average out all the smoking points from the weapons I've tested, if your Exo-45 is smoking, it means it has lost between 60 to 70% health, about 65% on average. Meaning, you've only got about 30 to 35% more durability to work with before it explodes. Sometimes, you might notice that one of the legs is on fire. This means your leg has been damaged and your mobility has been hamstrung. In this state, you basically can't outrun anything anymore, and depending on the situation, it might be best to abandon the mech. But how much health do you actually have left when your leg is on fire? Well, I tested this by only shooting at the leg with various weapons, the same way I tested its smoking point, and the approximate health you would have left is about 50% durability. Of course, this assumes that all the damage you've sustained is purely on your legs alone. Knowing how much damage it takes to set our legs on fire and destroy it means I can sort of calculate the relative durability of the exosuit's legs versus its body. Compared to the body, your mech's legs have only got about 30% of the durability against light attacks. This means, when engaging in range combat against automaton light fire, you'll want to do your best to keep your legs hidden or in cover, since any damage they sustain from getting hit hurts a lot more than getting hit in the body. Now, let's talk about the Exo-45's greatest weakness: explosive damage. While the Exo-45 can resist light attacks very well and somewhat tank medium penetration attacks for a bit, it is absolutely terrible against any form of explosive damage. A single autocannon shot to the body blows it up. A single impact grenade landing on it blows it up. 2 shots from the +1 Scorcher, which has explosive damage, blows it up. Hell, if you accidentally get too close to cover on your left side, or if you turn too quickly to the right side and you launch a rocket, you'll blow yourself up too. The Exo-45 absolutely cannot deal with explosions, so it is vital that you avoid stepping on landmines, getting hit by rockets, cannon fire, and explosive stratagems. In fact, speaking of stratagems, apart from the Stalwart and the machine gun to an extent, everything else that you can summon will destroy your mech pretty quickly. Grenade launcher, 1 shot. Expendable anti-tank, 1 shot. Las cannon, 20 hit worth of damage. Flamethrower, burn to a crisp in no time. HMG emplacement, about 15 rounds. Tesla coil, 1 shot. Knowing this, make sure to be careful when using your support weapons near allied mechs. You don't want to accidentally throw away a limited use 10-minute cooldown mech from a little bit of friendly fire. Before we reach the end of the video, I also want to share some interesting interactions I've learned during my testing. First, for some reason, the shield generator backpack does not switch off when you are in the Exo-45. This actually allows you to use your shield to tank some extra damage to the body, which increases the durability of your Exo-45 a little bit. Previously, you saw how I could destroy the exosuit in 2 shots with a +1 Scorcher, but in this clip, you can clearly see the shield generator taking a hit instead of the mech. This interaction is probably not intentional since the guard dog backpacks all switch off when you enter the Exo-45. But in the meantime, having the shield generator gives you a little bit more protection against automatons since you can absorb some of their range damage instead of tanking it. Secondly, while in the Exo-45, you are immune to the effects of the EMS. While you might lose all your stamina, you won't be slowed down by it and you are safe to walk through the static field. Third, and coming right behind the second point, the Exo-45 is either immune or has a very high damage resistance against the orbital gas strike. I've dropped about 4 of them while standing in it for the whole duration, and I wasn't even sure if my Exo-45 was taking any damage from them. The good thing about this is that you, the Helldiver, are also immune to the damage of gas while inside the Exo-45. This makes the corrosive EMS combo much better to use in close quarters situations without being at risk yourself. You are also seemingly immune to the flames from a napalm airstrike as well, not the impact. Finally, if you summon your Exo-45 in a pretty enclosed space like next to a wall or a building, you can actually make the dropship stay a little longer as it will try to find a suitable space to drop the Exo-45. This lets you take advantage of a few more seconds of supporting fire from the dropship as it hovers over you. So, given everything we've learned about the Exo-45 so far, this is my verdict on it. It is a heavy armaments platform housed in a wooden shed on legs. The Exo-45 is not really a tank, but used at the right time and used correctly, it can provide you with enough cover to execute some tactical plays safely and supplies you with additional firepower to support a push or a defense. Its ability to traverse terrain unimpeded and the capability to break open areas and paths without having to maneuver around offers a lot of potential for playmaking. The Exo-45 is a strong addition to any mission given the potential it has, but I think having too many people with the Exo-45 stratagem might cause the team to lose out on some utility or on more flexible stratagem options. This is especially the case on higher difficulties where you can't afford to be in your Exo-45 for long, since you'll be attacked from every which way or run out of ammo very fast. Alright, that's it for this video. I'm a little rusty since I've been away for a while battling with PC problems, so I hope this video was filled with some information that you'll find useful in your missions. This is the first video of my Helldivers Handbook series where I do my best to dive into the untold and hidden mechanics of the game, to make them more understandable to you, so you can better know how to make the most of your kit. I especially love covering underused and underappreciated weapons and stratagems, so if you want to see more of the Helldivers Handbook series to come, consider subscribing and dropping a like on this video to show your interest and love. What do you think of the Exo-45? Are there some interesting strategies that you've picked up? Are you having fun with it in-game like I am? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Over and out, Helldivers.